absolutely satisfied. Best economy service I've ever experienced. First class treatment in the sky. These are some of the things that people say about the world's best airline, but how good can they actually be? Well, today I'm going to be showing you the luxurious Q Suite and economy class while comparing it to a more average airline just so you can see how good they really are. But now that I am at the airport, I think we're going to go head inside to check in and grab our boarding pass and also explore this place because apparently it's one of the best airports in the entire world. Making my way over to the kiosk machine, first I need to confirm that I didn't have any dangerous goods, agree to having nothing prohibited, put in my confirmation code, scan my passport, and then I was all checked in for today's flight. First of all, I just want to say this is the most stunning airport I have ever been to. There's a waterfall downstairs, it's massive, it's super nice, and overall it's just unreal. Second of all, that was the easiest check-in process I've ever done in my life. They had airline staff absolutely everywhere in case you had any issues whatsoever. But now that I do have the boarding pass, it's time to head through security, and then apparently on the other side there's a pretty cool lounge to check out, and then it's finally going to be time for our Qatar Airways flight. What I didn't realize was how intense security at this airport was going to be, but soon enough I got through in a pretty respectable amount of time. Security at this airport does not mess around. Normally in North America or Europe they kind of take their time, but here it is very go go go. This is an international flight and I was through security within 10 minutes and this airport is very busy right now. And on top of that, I actually didn't get double inspected, so we're gonna have to add a point to the tally for that. It's time to go and find this lounge because apparently it is super cool. Making my way into the lounge, there was an entire wall of plants and things were super luxurious because inside they had a random silver water fountain and also an area for sleeping. When it came to the drinks, you could get sparkling or still water, and if that wasn't enough, they had multiple mini fridges filled with soft drinks and wine. Starting with the bread, there were 5 different types since one wasn't enough, along with personal jars of different jams. But if you wanted something bigger, there was also mini salad cups and a bunch of different sandwiches, but on top of that, they had hot dishes like soup and tons of different desserts. So obviously I had to load up. All right, so I'd have to say that lounge was actually pretty solid. Just like this airport, it was super modern, super clean, and super impressive. The staff were incredibly friendly. There was tons of seating area. It also wasn't busy at all, which was nice. So overall, I'd have to give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. But now there's only about 5 minutes until my flight is actually supposed to board. So I thought I'd take this time to tell you guys a little bit more about Qatar Airways, just in case you've never flown them before or have no idea what they are. Just like I mentioned earlier, Qatar Airways is the #1 airline in the world, and on TripAdvisor, they have a 4.0 rating and a ton of good reviews. Hasina said that they have exceptional members of staff. This user raved about how well trained the employees were and how it influenced the travel experience. Prasad mentioned their excellent service and entertainment systems, and Korean straight up just said they were the best airline. So I'm super excited to see what they're actually gonna be like. We have a slight problem, and that's because I only paid for 1 carry-on and 1 personal item, which is my backpack. And some airlines will count a garment bag as a personal item or another carry-on piece. And I think with Qatar Airways, it's not gonna be a problem, but I'm still not 100% sure. So it looks like we're about to find out. Excuse me, do we have to go through the metal detectors again or just go around it?
Which flight you're traveling with?
Dubai.
Yeah, can go from here straight, but boarding not yet started.
Oh, okay, thank you. I was a little bit freaked out with the metal detector. I wasn't sure if I had to re-go through it or not, but it turns out we're fine. Hi there, how's it going?
I'm good, thank you.
There we go. Oh. Thank you very much. This is actually super cool. I've never boarded at an airport like this, but the way Qatar Airways does it is you scan your boarding pass, then you come in the seating areas, and basically it's divided by zones. We have like zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, and so on. And when I think about it, that just makes sense because every other airline you're just lining up for no reason. But here you could just sit in your zone until it's called. Qatar Airways are literally geniuses.
Thank you, have a nice flight.
Thank you. Time for flight number 1. Hi there.
Hi, good evening. Have a quick look at your boarding pass, please. It's perfect. Thank you, Mr. Eric. Straight ahead.
Thank you. Making my way through the cabin, first I gotta check out the luxurious Q Suite before heading back to economy. Right off the bat, this seat was super comfortable and the legroom was so large that I could fully stretch out and still not touch the end of the seat. Looking around some more, I found a full-size power outlet and an HDMI port, which means technically you could play video games on this massive screen, but what was the entertainment like? Going into the entertainment portal, there was a ton of different movies to choose from, all sorted by different categories, and when it came to TV, this was also the case, because there were hundreds of different shows from all around the world. For audio, there was a section for prayer, music, podcasts, and even a whole area for games. But probably my favorite part of the seat so far was the goodie box in the corner. Opening things up, there was some facial spray, essential face cream, lip balm, some lotion, and also some socks. But now there's a bunch more I still need to show you once we're in the air, but for now, it's time to head back to economy and check things out there. Looking around the seat, my initial impressions are really good. The butt cushion, back cushion, and headrest is super comfortable. For economy class, the legroom is also a pretty respectable size. I'm only 5'8" and I have a ton of room. I'm pretty sure if you were 6 foot, you would also be fine as well. But the one thing that is the most impressive is the amount of recline you get. Here, it almost goes all the way to 45 degrees, which is something you would only find in a premium economy seat. And this is just normal economy. And on top of that, there's also in-flight entertainment, which you would never find anywhere else on a 1-hour flight. I have a feeling this is going to be a very good flight. Now, normally when you're in the window seat, this metal thing where my left foot is makes things super uncomfortable, but clearly someone at Qatar realized this, moving it over to solve the problem. But some of the other cool details that I also noticed was their logo on the headrest and also on the seatbelt too. Now, normally when you're in the window seat, you only get one, but on Qatar, I got two, which is awesome. And looking around some more, I noticed a remote on the back of the seat to control the overhead lamp, a solid sized tray table, little pouches for holding things like drinks, and also a bunch of room in the large pouch as well. So normally when I fly, we're either leaving right on time or delayed, and more often than not, the airlines that I fly on get delayed, but on this flight, we're actually leaving early. It is only 6:50, and this flight was originally supposed to leave at 7 p.m. I have never experienced this before. For today's first flight, I was going to be flying roughly an hour from Doha to Dubai, and after getting to the runway, it was time for takeoff. Now that I was in the air, the meal service would soon be starting, but before then, I wanted to see how the economy entertainment system compared to the first class. Beside the fact that this screen was much smaller and more dated, it still had all of the same movies and TV shows along with all of the different menus. But the only real big difference was the in-flight map on this one looked pretty ancient. Anyways, now that I was done with that, I got served some naan bread and a bunch of little snacks, but what was being served up front? Well, compared to the economy class, this one had a full menu for food and drinks. There was luxury non-alcoholic bubbly, 4 mocktails, cold beverages, iced tea, iced coffee, regular tea and regular coffee, Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, Rosé, Bordeaux, other wines I have never heard of, which included dessert wines. There were spirits, beers, cocktails, and literally anything you could want. But how about the food? Well, for the starters, there was apple soup, Spanish-style tapas, and lobster tail. The mains had a full lobster, beef tenderloin, braised chicken, stuffed peppers, spreads of cheese, and for dessert, gooey chocolate fondue, fresh fruit, and an ice cream sundae. Starting the meal, I got served a variety of warm fresh buns before being served salmon with edible gold for the appetizer. For the main dish, I got this massive plate of chicken and rice, and not only did I get the chocolate fudge cake for dessert, but I also decided to get the ice cream sundae as well before heading back to economy. I'll be honest, I am truly blown away. Not only is this seat super comfortable, but everything else is really good too. The in-flight entertainment has so many different options to choose from. It is literally impossible to be bored, and considering this is only an hour flight, there's actually too much to even watch. The flight attendants are super amazing and super on point. Literally the second the seatbelt sign went off, they got up out of their seats and they started the in-flight service. But on this one, you got orange juice or water, a bunch of pita bread, and a bunch of different toppings and dips that you could eat or use, which was unreal. Now again, this is a very short flight and I am already halfway through, but so far, this is unreal. Making my way to the economy class bathroom, things were on the smaller side, but even then it was still extremely clean and overall it was quite solid. But when it came to the first class, things were way bigger and you could just tell how it was higher end, because there was stuff like makeup mirrors, velvet hand lotion along with infused facial wash, and also toothbrushes in a drawer. But probably the best part is how once you get back to your seat, it will be fully made into a bed. So now that you've seen the world's best airline, how does it compare to something a little bit more average? Well, for this, I'm going to be trying Turkish Airlines' most expensive seat and also their economy class to see how different things can actually be.
And I have never flown them before, so I really have no idea what to expect. But now that I'm at the airport, I think it's time to head inside to check in, grab the boarding pass, and find out for ourselves.
Now, for some reason, there weren't any Turkish Airlines check-in counters that I could find inside the airport, so instead, I just had to use the kiosk. And overall, this was super easy because all I needed to do was type in the booking code, and after accepting that I didn't have anything dangerous, I was all checked in and ready to go.
So just like with Qatar, the check-in process was super simple. I got my boarding pass. Luckily, I am in a window, and now we're good to go. Now, the reason why I always go to the self-check-in versus with a person is because my carry-ons are always drastically overweight, and whenever you go to someone in person, they're always gonna weigh it, and they'll probably charge you. So that's a pro tip for anyone traveling out there. But anyways, there's still only about 10 minutes left until my flight is supposed to board, so I thought I'd take this time to tell you guys a little bit more about Turkish Airlines, just in case you've never flown them before or have no idea who they are.
Compared to Qatar Airways at 4 stars, Turkish Airlines is rated 3.5 out of 5, but when it comes to the reviews, the vast majority are on the higher end. Wine Pair said they had an excellent experience in Turkish's business class. Greg highly recommends it as well because of the great service and food, and Dima raved about the kind flight attendants. But even for the economy class, Julie talked about the comfortable experience. Parvin said they are reliable with amazing crew and customer service. Then finally, Costas called them the best airline in Europe and even the world.
But it is going to be interesting to see how they actually compare to Qatar Airways, so I think it's time we head to the gate to board the flight. Hi there.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Pretty good.
Have a nice flight.
Thank you. It's time to see what Turkish Airlines is actually like. I am super excited to find out.
Hello.
Hi there, how are you?
Making my way through the cabin, first I gotta check out Turkish's business class before going back to economy. Starting things off, this seat was super large and luxurious, where just like in Qatar, there was tons of legroom and so much that I could fully stretch out. Doing the comfort test, things were really good, and looking around the seat some more, I found a bunch of buttons to change the seat positions, a mirror for doing makeup, and also the entertainment system. So what was that like? While checking out the movies, there were a bunch of new releases, tons of TV shows, lots of different music, games for kids, and also a flight map. But there is a bunch more that I still need to show you once we're in the air, but for now it's time to go back and check out the economy class.
Right off the bat, this seat is actually really comfortable. The butt, back, and headrest are all pretty comparable to Qatar, and on top of that, this one is also fully adjustable, which is awesome. Now, I was looking at the seat map earlier, and I wasn't sure if this flight was going to have in-flight entertainment because it's one of those smaller planes, but it actually does, so we're going to have to definitely check that out later. But again, I just got on the plane, and there's still so much more to explore, but I have a feeling it's going to be really tough to decide which of these two airlines is actually better.
Looking under the seats, there was plenty of room for storing any bags, and it was also extremely clean, which was nice to see. But compared to Qatar's legroom, the one on this flight was definitely tight, especially considering that I'm only 5'8". Now, another good thing about this seat compared to most economy ones is that it had 2 windows, USB outlets for charging, 2 different mini pouches for holding snacks or drinks, and the main one which had a waist bag, safety pamphlet, and headphones for the TV. But soon enough, I noticed that we began pushing back from the gate right on time. For this second flight, I was going to be flying from Prague to Istanbul, and after getting to the runway, it was time for takeoff. And now that we were in the air, it's time to check out the in-flight entertainment system. Compared to Qatar's economy class, this screen was much newer and higher resolution, but when it came to the movies and TV shows, things were extremely comparable with all of the different options. And really, the only big difference was the quality of the flight map, since the one on Qatar was a little bit dated. But anyways, soon enough it was time for the food, and this economy class got an entire meal with chicken, dessert, and a snack, which was pretty unreal. While back on Qatar, we only got a snack, which could have been because that flight was only an hour compared to this one.
So now that I'm a little bit over halfway through the flight, I thought I'd go ahead and share my thoughts on it so far. The seat has been extremely comfortable, my back is not sore whatsoever, the in-flight entertainment was awesome, but if I'm being completely real, just like on Qatar, I don't think there is anything that I could complain about. The staff are friendly, the flight has been awesome, and overall it's just been a really good experience. But now there's still about 25 minutes left and a few other things that I need to see, and then I'm going to tell you guys which of the 2 airlines I think is actually better.
Now, how are things back in Turkish's business class for the meal? Well, unlike in economy, there was an entire wine menu for different drinks, and also another for whiskeys, vodka, gin, and the other alcohols. But when it came to the food, there was a massive selection from appetizers to mains and even desserts. Starting things off, I got a fresh serving of warm nuts before getting a variety of food for the appetizer. When it came to the main, I got a massive piece of lamb medley with rice, and finally for dessert, I got a bunch of fresh fruit and other Turkish dishes. Now after this, I checked out the business class bathroom, which wasn't quite as nice as Qatar's from earlier, but just like then, when I got back to my seat, it was made into a bed. So which of the 2 airlines are actually better? Well, when it comes to the economy class, I honestly think the product is extremely comparable between the 2, but when it comes to the business class, Qatar Airways is truly in a world of its own. Even looking earlier at the ground staff, service, and everything else, I definitely think that they deserve to be the #1 airline in the entire world. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and watch this one next.